Straight all day.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why you should spend more money for higher quality outcomes. Now, before we get into this, first of all, tell you a disclaimer that I still got a little bit of a sore throat here, so I may take some pauses just to keep taking sips of water to keep my palate moist while I'm talking here. But we are going to get this episode out as usual. And also, I got a daily motivation text message that I send out free of charge every single day to everyone who's in my text community. If you would like to receive that message free of charge, every single morning, straight to your phone. Yes, free of charge. Every morning, straight to your phone. Text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. Every morning when I send out that daily motivation, starting tomorrow morning, less than 24 hours from now, you will be receiving that daily motivation text. Secondly, if you have not yet claimed your free copy of my book called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs, this is a book that's all about how you show up and give your best effort when you least feel like it, and how you make a system out of doing those things. About when it comes to being disciplined and having a process so you can be more consistent, there's a way that you put a system in place to be consistent rather than just trying to motivate yourself and get yourself hyped up to be consistent. That's all covered in that book. Go to thirddaybook.com, all spelled out, thirddaybook.com. The book's free. All you're going to do is cover the shipping, and I will send you a physical copy of that book to your doorstep. Third, all you business folks and professionals who are serious about making more money in your business, and you understand that it's not just a matter of you working harder or getting smarter, it's a matter of putting systems in place in your business. Notice I've talked about this already 3 times. All you got to do is go to workonyourgame.net. I will show you the 5-step process that I use to help people like yourself increase the revenue in their business. I know there's a lot of other things you want to do to increase, so that will lead to increasing revenue, but the reason you're in business is to make money, right? If you're not in business to make money, don't go and watch this training. If you're in business to make money, go to workonyourgame.net, watch the free training, and at the end of that training, a link is going to pop up that will allow you to get yourself on my calendar and schedule a time to talk to me directly about how we can implement this specifically for you and into your process, into your business. That's at workonyourgame.net. Now, getting into today's topic, why you should spend more money for higher quality. This class today is really about investing in yourself. Understanding that generally speaking, the more you invest, generally, the higher the quality of your returns. So this is really about any of you who's ever making an investment in yourself and you're thinking, well, let me just choose the thing that is the cheapest, the one that allows me to hold on to the most money, the one that most fits within my budget, the one that I can most easily afford, the one that's cheaper than the other one because it just allows me to spend less money, because many people have a lot of hang-ups about spending money for any reason, let alone something that's an investment in yourself. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't do it that way, why you should actually look to spend more money for higher quality things. I'm going to explain why that makes sense here today. Keeping in mind that in episode 609, I explained to you the 5 forms of investment, which are time, money, attention, energy, and focus. These 5 things must be invested into everything that you achieve in life. And when you try to go cheap on any of these, you go cheap on your time, it hurts things. You go cheap on your energy, on your attention, and on your focus, it hurts things. And when you go cheap on money, it's going to cost you. So let's talk about it. Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, why you should spend more money for higher quality stuff. Point number 1, higher quality prices usually equal higher quality materials, services, offerings, and products. Any of you who has enough experience as a consumer, meaning buying stuff, which is pretty much everybody, you've seen this already, have you not? Have you not experienced this? That the stuff that costs more money usually is just better when it costs more money. Now, I know that you could probably point out a couple of examples that you have experienced where you spent more money and the thing wasn't even that much better. But most of the time, I'm talking in aggregate, you will notice that higher priced things usually are higher quality things. Give you an example. There was a time when I was on, actually Anna was the one who did this. She went on the Nordstrom, was it Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's, one of those sites. She went on one of their websites because she has a long relationship with these sites, and she decided she was going to get a suit for me to try out, and the suit was relatively cheap. This suit was about, and this is relative to what I normally spend on a suit. I normally spend on a suit anywhere between $500 on the low end to $1,000, and this suit was like $200. It was a brand that I had never heard of, she had never heard of. It says like $200, so let's try it out. Maybe it's a suit that actually looks good on you, but if it's whack, if it's trash, then we'll just send it back. So she got this suit. It was like $200, and I tried it on. I didn't have to put the whole suit on. I put the pants on, and I'm like, oh hell no, this suit absolutely isn't going to do it. And it'd be great. It would be great if I could get a suit for $200, because then I can get like 5 of them for $1,000 suit budget and can fill my closet up. But when I put that $200 suit on, it immediately felt like exactly what it was, which was a $200 suit. and that's just what it is. Any of you who wear suits, you understand this. If you have tried on enough of them, you see that. And I already knew what a higher price suit looked like. I already knew what it felt like. So it was easy for me to see that the cheap suit was not worth the money that I would be saving by buying it. I want you to notice my wording there. Cheap things are often not worth the money that you save. So if you're used to spending $5 on something, but instead you spend $2, the $3 that you saved is not worth what you had to go through in dealing with the $2 thing that you bought. You get it? Now here's the issue. If I had not known any better, meaning had I not experienced what a $800 suit feels like, a $900 suit, a $600 suit, if I didn't know what they felt like, I would have put on a $200 suit and thought, okay, this is fine. Let me just roll with this. But I knew better. See, this is why knowing what the higher cost thing looks, feels, and performs like, that helps you to know what the cheap thing feels like. See, you have to have some frame of reference. I had a frame of reference for what a good suit looks and feels like. But if I didn't have one, who knows? I might be on camera right now wearing that $200 suit, and somebody would have been looking at this video like, why is that dude wearing that cheap suit talking about why you need to spend more money? Wouldn't have made any sense. But I had a frame of reference. So I might have been walking around wearing that piece of shit, knowing what it was. And any of you who wears a suit that costs $200, no offense, but I'm just telling you what it is. I remember I'll give you another example. I bought this face hair trimmer, which was like actually a nose hair trimmer. And it lasted for a good amount of time. It probably cost like $11, $12 on Amazon. But at some point, it just stopped working. Like the battery worked, the battery was perfectly fine. It was a brand new battery. I hadn't dropped it or misused it in any way, but it just stopped working. Turned the power on, just didn't work. And this is what you get when you spend $11 on any type of equipment, electrical equipment. So this is what I did. When I noticed that one wasn't working anymore, I went on Amazon and I looked up another one, exact same product, not the same maker and all that, but the same type of product. And I bought one that cost 3 times the price. And I'm pretty sure that I will never need to buy another one. Why? Because higher cost things usually are higher quality things. Give you another example. I bought a pair of loafers. This is right when I started my professional speaking career after basketball. It was around 2015, going into 2016. No, it had to be 2015. So I bought this pair of loafers for about $170 loafers. Now that's not, for the most part, that's not that cheap when it comes to shoes, but when it comes to dress shoes, that is actually on the low end. Honestly, at least as far as the way that I shop. And these are about $170, and I didn't wear them that often. It's not like I was wearing them. I wasn't wearing like dress clothes every day at that time. I do now, but I wasn't then. And I remember they got wet one time, and after they had gotten wet, they dried and all that, but they looked like they had been beat. They looked like I've been wearing them every day for like 10 years. That's how beat up they look after they got wet one time. And I wasn't even wearing them that often. I was wearing them maybe twice a week at the most. $170 loafers. They look just completely beat, like somebody had put them in a damn garbage disposal by accident and got rescued out of there. That's what they look like. So then when I went back to the department store, to replace those loafers and buy a new pair. I bought a $600 pair of designer loafers, and those loafers I still have to this very day, still wear them all the time, and they still look and feel brand new several years later. I've had those loafers for five or 6 years. They still look and feel brand new. Why? Because higher quality things are usually higher quality product. Higher price things, are usually higher quality products that they last longer. In a general sense, stuff that costs more usually costs more money for a reason. Everybody here is familiar with the phrase, you get what you pay for, right? Now see, here's where the conflict of human brains come into the picture. Because while everybody's familiar with the phrase, you get what you pay for, at the same time, when it's time for someone to actually pay for stuff, a lot of us make the decision to buy the cheap thing because we are emotionally connected to holding on to our dollars. So you need to reconcile this challenge in your brain, because there's a conflict there. You emotionally want to hold on to your money, but at the same time, you say you get what you pay for. So are you living it, or are you just saying it? Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why you should spend more money for higher quality stuff. Number 2, when you invest in higher quality stuff, you won't need to keep replacing it or buying others or more of it more often when you invest in higher quality stuff. That's why it's not just buying it, you're investing in it, because it will pay you back over time. One purchase will be enough when you buy the highest quality thing. So read between the lines of what I'm saying here, and you may notice what I'm pointing out. If you didn't notice, let me point it out to you. I'm pointing out quantitative versus qualitative buying decisions. See, when you buy cheap things, you're going to have to make quantitative decisions, because you're going to have to keep buying them over and over and over again. You have to buy a quantity of cheap things to last over time, because you got to keep buying them over and over, because the cheap one will need to be replaced. Then you need another one and another one and another one. But if you buy the high quality thing, you only need to do it one time, and you won't need to replace it because it will last longer. It's the same thing when it comes to, think about something like your food. If you eat something like McDonald's or a candy bar or a bag of Skittles when you're hungry, well, pretty soon you're going to need to eat again. Or you eat a bag of chips, you're going to need to eat again pretty soon. Why? Because that cheap shit that you just put in your body, you're going to need more and more and more and more of the cheap stuff to make you feel exactly how you would feel. Actually, you won't even get close to, you won't get approaching to feel how you would feel had you invested in one high quality meal. So you eat one high quality meal that replaces a whole bag of chips, a McDonald's extra value meal, a candy bar, and some other snacks and junk that you have to put in your body to get the same feeling. And you won't feel as good even after all of that. Quantity versus quality. When you are a consumer of cheap shit, you have to buy a lot of it. You got to buy a high quantity to keep yourself satisfied. You buy a cheap gadget, like I just told you about in my own experience, the cheap gadget will eventually break. And you have to buy another one, then another one, and another one, and another one. If you buy a high quality gadget, even though it might cost you more money up front, you will never need to replace it. And in the long run, the higher quality thing will actually cost you less money than the cheap thing. I mean, this is simple mathematics, right? But many people, again, lacking the time perspective and being unable to see past their noses, never come to understand this. I talked about time perspective in episode 777, by the way. If you haven't listened to that episode, go check it out. This doesn't mean, everybody, that you have to buy the most expensive option of everything you buy. It doesn't mean go to the mall and buy the most expensive thing they have everywhere you go. That's not what I'm saying. But it does mean that if you're making a purchase that you want to last long term, consider the quality of what you're buying, not just the price of what you're buying. That's what I'm telling you. So are you making your decisions based on quantity, i.e. money, or quality, i.e. value? Let me say that one again. Are you making your decisions based on quantity, i.e. money, or quality, i.e. value? Because when you invest in things that are high value, they will actually save you money in the long run, and also they will make you money in the long run if you invest in the right level of value. I hear from people all the time who either make decisions or don't make decisions based on quantity, i.e. how much does it cost? And people don't buy stuff because they don't want to spend a certain amount of money. Not that they don't have it, they just don't want to spend it. Then what they do is they go make a worse decision and invest in something that is lower quality simply because that decision allowed them to hold on to a higher quantity of money, energy, or time. But in the long run, it actually costs you more of all three of those because of your poor decision-making framework. So when you make low-value decisions just so you can hold on to a higher quantity of money, it actually ends up costing you more in the long run than you thought it would. This is all because of a poor decision-making framework that's based on a very short time perspective. What does time perspective mean? It means the more successful the person, the further into the future they project the results of their actions. So a high value, smart person is thinking not just about the next 5 minutes, they're thinking about the next 5 years when they make a decision. Therefore, they are more willing to invest in a higher priced thing because it's going to be higher quality and it will last them longer. It will last that next 5 years, not just the next 5 weeks. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why you should spend more money for higher quality things. Number 3. The definition of investing means to spend or devote for future advantage or benefit. That's the definition of invest. In a perfect world, we can make small, tiny investments and get huge returns back. But we know this is not the way the universe works. If you want a big return on something in your life, you have to make a big investment. This is the way that it works. So if you want to be great at something, for example, you can't give it a part-time effort and then think that you're going to be great. And we talked about that enough times here on the show. That's why time is one of your 5 forms of investment. You have to put full-time effort into something you want to get a full-time return. Anything you want to be great at, you must make a big commitment into it. And success leaves clues. So look around at the people who you consider to be the most successful, whether they're people you know personally or people you see, and look at the decisions that they make with their investments. Compare that to the decisions that you make with your investments. This is especially true when you see people who have success making investments that you don't quite understand. In other words, you see somebody making an investment and you don't know why they are making that specific investment. Those are the investments that you should pay the most attention to because there's probably something about those people's state of being, i.e. the way that they think, that you simply have not yet come to understand. Because again, success leaves clues. So when you see someone who you consider successful doing something that you don't understand, you should not write that off as something that you don't need to know about. You should look into that as something you absolutely need to know about because there's something that they're thinking or seeing that you're not. And if they're successful, then that means there's a clue in that success that you should probably be picking up on. You should go figure out, go investigate and find out what that is. The worst thing you can do when you see someone who you deem successful, when you see them making an investment that you wouldn't make or that you don't understand, worst thing you can do is dismiss that investment because you think that it's somehow a quote-unquote waste. It's usually not. And it's usually hidden in plain sight the secrets that separate success from failure. So this is why you should look around at whoever you consider to be successful, see what they're doing, and discern what are they doing that you're not doing. Because I guarantee you there's at least one thing. Recap of today's class, which is why you should spend more money for higher quality products, goods, services, and experiences. This class is really about investing in yourself and understanding, generally speaking, the more you invest, the higher quality of your returns. Point number 1, higher prices usually result in higher quality. And higher quality stuff usually lasts longer. Think about the food that you eat. When you eat cheap food, how quickly does it run through your system and you need to eat again? But when you eat high quality food, it satisfies you for hours, right? This is the way that it works. Everybody's familiar with the phrase, you get what you pay for, but are you actually living it? Point number 2, when you invest in higher quality stuff, you won't need to keep replacing it or buying it more often. One time will often be enough. When you buy a high quality gadget, even though it might cost you 5 times the money up front, it lasts longer and ends up in the long run costing you less money. But many people don't have a long enough time perspective and they only think about the short term instead of thinking about the long term. So ask yourself, if you are making your decisions based on quantity, i.e. money, or quality, i.e. value, you invest in the right amount of value with your quantity of money, then you'll actually make more money and save more money in the long run. You'll make and save more money at the same time when you invest in higher quality things. Point number 3, The definition of investing is to spend or devote for future advantage or benefit. So in a perfect world, we can make tiny investments and get huge returns, but that's usually not the way that it works. You get things out that you put in. So if you want a big return, you got to make a big investment. If you want to get a full-time return from something that you're doing, you probably got to put in a full-time effort, right? You can't put in a part-time effort, then ask yourself, why am I not getting a full-time return on investment from this? Success leaves clues. So look around at people who you consider to be successful, see what investments they're making, and ask yourself if you understand that investment, and if so, are you making that same investment? Because if you're not, then that's a clue as to the difference between you and that person. Look around and you'll start noticing these things a whole lot. The worst thing you can do is dismiss an investment that you see a successful person making as a waste, because that's the way you're thinking. Well, understand that they're thinking in a way that's different from you. That's why they have the success that they have. All that said, text me to get my daily motivation for free, straight to your phone every morning. My number is 305-384-6894. And if you're looking to make more money in your business, I have a 5-step system that explains to you how I help people do this. At the end of it, there'll be a link that tells you exactly how to get on a call with me, and we can talk about how you can do it. This is all at workonyourgame.net. Again, that site is workonyourgame.net. Work on your game. Dre all day.